Okay, so a couple things on this guy's quiz. He identified A, B, and C correctly, which is something they need to do because they like to miss negative signs sometimes. But where he screwed up is in the actual using of the quadratic formula. He's got parts of it, but he doesn't have all of it. And I think that's because he didn't bother to write out the actual formula. And so what he did is, you can see he squared B, and he did minus 4 times A times C. But then he left B squared outside the radical all the way through the problem. And I think if he would have taken the time to find the discriminant correctly by doing it off to the side here like we learned, A is 2, C is negative 9, and the negative 10 has to go in parentheses because you're putting it in for a variable. He'd see that it's 100, it's going to be plus, and it's going to be a 72 because it's a negative 4 and a negative 9 gives 36 times 2 is 72. So his discriminant is 172, which tells him he should have two solutions. Now as far as the rest of it goes, you know, the difference between what we do as we learn something and what we do when we're given the chance to do it by ourselves is we learned it by writing out the formula, doing the discriminant, and then leaving spaces in the formula to drop the variables in. But you can see over here he didn't bother to write the formula down first. I think had he done that, he would have done a lot better. But what do I know? I'm just a math teacher. So now the number's in the right places, and it's a matter of simplifying the equation. Negative 1 times negative 10 is 10. The square root of 172 we pull off here to the side because we know it's even, so it's 2 times 76, which we can make 2 times 2 times 38. So we know there's a perfect factor of 4 in there. So we square root the 4 out, and a 2 goes there, and the 38 stays inside the radical, and we keep a plus or minus in front. Because the 10 and the 2 and the 4 are all part of a fraction, and none of them are inside a radical, they have a common factor of 2 that we can take out of all of them. At that point, the only thing remaining the same is the square root of 38. And the fraction bar, because everything else is going to be divided by 2, so we're going to get a 5 here and a plus or minus. And some kids like to put a 1 there, but they don't have to, over 2. And you're done.